So Phil, we've come to the end of the January transfer window here, so we thought we'd have a catch up with you about the events of the last month. I mean, first, we didn't see many incomings here at Griffin Park. What was the reasoning behind that?
Well, we tried to add one or two players, and we made some offers. Some of those offers were accepted, and the players went elsewhere. George Evans is well known. We made some offers that weren't accepted, and we were given some big numbers for players, which we thought was no value for us making those deals right now. So in the end of the day, we made no additions.
Dean spoke during January about him potentially looking at getting players in. Did the thoughts within the club change during January, or was there always a plan to try and get players in?
Well, there was always a plan to try and get players in. There was no change of direction in that sense. It was just one where we just couldn't get the players we thought would make a difference, and we didn't want to add players who we were either unsure about or we were paying a little bit too much money for.
So we had a few players leaving the club this January. Look at a few of those. So Tumani Diagoaga, the thoughts behind his departure?
So Tumani had 18 months on his contract. He was at an age where I think the next contract for him was an important one for him, and he wanted a very good contract, and we didn't feel that we were able to offer him that here, and Leeds were. So when they came in, obviously they had to meet our valuation. They did so, and we felt that rather than wait for his contract to run down further, that it was the right thing to do right now, especially as we've got cover in that area of the pitch with Josh coming back, with Ryan, Maka, Kirsch. So we're well covered in the area.
And as well as Tumani, Hotter has moved to Ibar on a loan deal again, but much publicised reasons behind that. But from your point of view, how did that come about?
So before Christmas, we had several conversations with Hodder where he sort of explained his personal circumstances, and we felt that this was affecting him on the pitch, so it was the best solution for everyone to allow him to go on loan to sort out his personal situation. I don't feel that, we all remember what Hodder was like last season. In some ways we kind of haven't lost our player because the situation was such that I don't think we had that player with us right now at the time. So by letting him go on loan, it leaves options open for the future, and I hope that we can see him back here at some point.
And the news that broke yesterday was James Tarkowski's move to Burnley. Again, much publicised. The thoughts behind that?
Again, he was another one where we talked before Christmas about his situation. He explained it to me. I said we'd look to support him as we could, but I told him that we couldn't allow him to leave cheaply for less than his valuation. So obviously, in order to get there, it just took quite a long time for that deal to be thrashed out. It was a bit protracted, but it got there in the end. And again, it's one where I feel like we've got good cover in that position. We think that Johan was fourth choice until a few weeks ago, but has come in and played really well. So we've got three currently fit, and obviously Andreas as well to come back in at some point. So I think we've got good cover there. I think we've got a pretty good deal, and I think we'll be able to reinvest that money in the future.
And before James left, he put out a statement on the club's website which wasn't 100% tallying with the one that potentially been put out earlier by the club. What was maybe the reason for the difference between the two?
So the initial statement was very matter of fact. We weren't going to lie about the situation. Dean obviously had to come on and talk about it on television that evening, so we just said what had happened. It's important for us that things are done in the right way. We didn't feel this was done in the right way, and that's why we took the action we did. Following on from that, James wanted to make his sort of get his point of view across and make his apology, and we felt that we'd support him in that. But the right thing to do was to use the club website to make his statement, and and he put together what he wanted to say, and we said that was fine, because it does refer to the fact that we were looking to support him with his situation at home, and so we were happy with that. So I don't think it was necessarily a contradiction. We didn't feel what happened was right. There was a sanction for that, but at the same time we did understand his personal situation, and then that obviously ultimately resulted in a transfer. But had it not resulted in a transfer, I think ultimately we would have had to help James as well continue to play for Brentford.
And there have been some comments from around the place that the club has been left weaker after this transfer window than it went into it. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's hard to sit here having lost 3 first choice players and brought none in to say on the pitch that doesn't have an impact. But I feel that over the long term, this actually is, we're not in a bad situation. So clearly, Hodder is only on loan. Tumani, like I said, it gives an opportunity for players to come in now. Josh coming back, played a first full 90 minutes recently against Leeds, and we've got good cover centre back. So I think overall, that over the long term, I think we'll find ourselves in good shape, especially when we come to do more business in the summer. And
Dean has also mentioned that bids were turned down for Alan Judge. Was the club ever close to letting Alan go?
No, not really. Obviously, we said we had a valuation, as with all players, and obviously that was a high valuation, given his importance to our team, and no clubs came near to it. So delighted we managed to keep him.
And looking further down the line to Alan, potential for keeping him even longer than he's currently contracted for?
Well, we're having conversations with Alan on an ongoing basis. Obviously, there's a lot of variables in play. Again, he's obviously at the point in his career where he wants, it's a big next contract that he'll sign. It's important to him, given his age, to get the right deal for him, and obviously we want the right deal for us. So if we can do something, that's great. But there's plenty of variables in play. The Euros clearly is important. If he's in the squad, if he plays, that impacts things as well. So we'll keep talking, and we'll see where we get with this.
And even though the transfer window ended yesterday, the loan window opens again next week. Any plans to delve into that?
We'll monitor it. It depends. I guess it depends on how the season continues to go. When you bring a loan in, our model has been to bring loans in from Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, obviously Terrell from Arsenal, Pritchard from Spurs last season. And part of that is the benefit of those clubs is we're developing their players, but of course if we're developing their players, we're not developing our own players, so we don't want to block guys like Lewis McLeod coming back to fitness or Scott Hogan by bringing a loan in unnecessarily. So it's an option, but we'll see how that goes.
And even though it's a few months away, presumably the work is well on the way behind the scenes for the summer transfer window.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got players identified that we'd like to do in the summer. Clearly, having signed on this window, we'll look to do more business in the summer.
Do you feel that the summer window gives you a better option to get players at a more reasonable price for the club?
I think so. With some of the players who we'd like to sign, are the better players at teams near the top of their division. So it's very hard for clubs now who are potentially in promotion battles. Very hard for them to countenance selling their best players. We would feel the same. So in order for them to do that, the valuation's got to be very, very high. So we're not in a position where we can go and spend huge money on players. So a better strategy, I think, is to wait until the summer when hopefully better value will be available.
And Phil, when it comes to the players who are currently at Clifton Park that potentially are out of contract in the summer, have there been thoughts and discussions with those so far?
Yeah, we're ongoing conversations with players about contracts. A few players contracts end of the summer, and then there's a few more next year as well. And we're looking at all of those contracts and all those situations, and we want to keep our best players. So those conversations will continue, and hopefully we can resolve a few contracts very soon.